The Rain Man Show contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
From the Cave of Wonders and recorded live in the presence of gods, where heroes are forged and the weak perish, we welcome you to the Rain Man Show.
What's your name?
Rain Man. Rain Man. Rain Man. Rain Man.
Fuck you! That's my name!
Rain Man.
Set up, double-crossed, and left foot dead.
Fuck me? No. Fuck you.
Rain Man.
Framed for murder, now he prowls the Badlands, an outlaw hunting outlaws, a bounty hunter, a renegade.
With the few who remain, battle to the last. No one has ever known what it must be.
All right. I mean, I've been trying to, all day today, I've been trying to, well, how you doing, Aisha? Probably say that first. How you doing? Well,
You right? Hey, how are
this is
you?
the Rain Man Show.
I almost forgot.
All day I've been trying to sort through, for actually 2 days, I've been trying to sort through Facebook, and it's impossible to sort through between Game of Thrones and the Brady Bunch lady that died. I can't see anything else on Facebook or Twitter. It's all, oh, the Alice died. Oh, Game of Thrones, his skull got crushed. Oh, God. That's all it is. And the grand scheme of things, I care about Game of Thrones. However, the Brady Bunch lady, I mean, come on.
Did anyone really? Like, I felt like everyone was making this big deal out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought she was already fucking dead.
That is exactly my point. I said that earlier today. I said, listen, if she died and nobody said anything...
Maybe that's what's amazing. She died twice.
The news, if you read the article all the way through, she actually died 2 years ago. It's now announcing it. Like, I think that if people actually, like, if they never announced it, never made a big deal about it, I don't think anybody would ever really care. And it irks me a little bit to see, oh my God, she's dead. She's a great actress. I'm like, great actress? She played the most cliche role in the history of television. She was a maid who watched the kids. That's all she did. And did, quirky one-liner jokes. I mean, come on. And by the way, we have Maggie in studio today.
Hey.
And Greg, I don't know where he went, but he'll be here in a second. And
He's
then,
on the moon.
Yeah, later today we're also going to have Melissa in studio to do dating. So it'll be kind of interesting.
Melissa.
A new segment. But I don't know. I find it kind of, hard to feel bad or feel sorry for this lady that died. Everyone posts. I mean,
no one cared the day before she died. Where was she?
Yeah.
Where was she?
I think it's a little bit of nonsense. The other Brady Bunch surviving cast members.
They're alive?
They're all, like, happy about it. They're happy. Like, they have to be, why they're happy about it? Because they're in the news again. They're relevant. Because when are they ever relevant until somebody dies?
I wonder what so-and-so's doing now.
Yeah. When the father died of AIDS, he died of AIDS, the guy, the gay guy, the gay father, everyone's like, oh, he died. But, inside they're like, yes, we're going to be on the news again. We're going to be relevant. All right, Bobby.
He's going to do stories on us.
Bobby and Cindy, put your faces on. We're going to be great right now. We're going to be interviewed. That's the only time these people are ever interviewed is when somebody dies on their thing. I mean, and that's kind of sad when you look at it that way, that a little bit of them there is a little bit of them that's a little happy they're back on the TV. And they're back in the limelight, and it's only because someone died or something terrible happened.
I forget his real name, but Bobby. He was actually married to Adrienne Curry
I don't know who that is.
the model / nerd,
the cosplay
and
chick.
They were married for maybe a year or two, so he's still kind of relevant, but not as relevant as no one else.
Yeah. He's not relevant. Just because you stuck your penis and
no, he's still doing reality shows
Nah.
and blah 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 blah.
Nah. If it's not so you want to marry Prince Harry, I don't care about it.
Right, people care more about Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
You know what? The last decade has been fantastic for like D-list celebrities.
Right?
Because like if this was like 10, 15 years ago, they would have no career. Once their show
They'd all
ended,
probably
30
be homeless.
Yeah,
eating
exactly.
at soup kitchens.
20, 30 years ago, like once your career's done, it was done. Now, with this reality television and whatnot, the internet, everybody can rekindle their fame, their golden years. And like, look at I'm a star again. I'm in a reality show. You know what? And if someone told me this 10 years ago that reality shows would still be going on strong, I would have doubted them. It's unbelievable that they're still doing good.
Yeah, because like The Simple Life was kind of like the big major like debut of all that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like that's when it was really a popular thing to sit down with your family every week, and a reality TV show was quality family time.
Well, that and Big Brother.
Yeah, that was
Is that the one
around
with
a
that
similar
Jake guy,
time, huh?
the bodybuilder guy, or no?
What pisses me off
I
about
don't
Big
know.
Brother is guaranteed at least 90% of their viewers don't even understand where that title came from.
I don't even know where it came from.
Really?
Educate me
What?
really fast.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know what Big Brother is.
1984?
I don't know. What happened in 1984? The spaceship blew
It's
up?
a book. I feel
What's
like
Big
it's
Brother?
because I can't think of the author's name off
I
the
don't
top
know
of
the
my
author.
head.
I
But
don't, yeah.
I want to say
I
George
don't know.
Orwell. I think it's
Oh.
Orwell.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like this dystopian world that's a total like
And that's
supreme monarchy.
and that's what the
of
show's
sorts.
about. The reality.
No, like Big Brother. It's about Britain. What would
okay.
they would be in 1984 because he wrote it in the 40s.
Is this where the whole Big Brother's watching you thing came
Yes.
from? Okay,
Yes.
then I know what you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah, I know what you're talking. I didn't
and
know.
like guaranteed, like
Yeah.
all their viewers, most of them don't even
Yeah.
fucking know
Well,
that.
okay, now I know what you're talking about. I was just kind of lost for a second.
Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold, like their mother.
I just got to say this about the Brady Bunch. I'm like, okay, you're a smoking blonde with three blonde daughters. Okay, normally, and she's successful. She had a career, like, right? She had a career in the show.
Yes.
Brady Bunch. She was a catch, right? She was blonde, so she had three kids. Who cares? This is the 60s, right? Who cares? I always thought the first thing that I would have thought was, what damage does this broad have? She can't hook a man. She can't hook a man. Like, that's the first thing I would
Hey,
think.
3 kids, that's a lot of baggage.
3 blondes. If they're not yours in 10 years, guess what? You can have lots of fun going on in your house.
Their game.
The youngest one in curls. It's a story of a man named Brady.
See, Marsha, which everyone said she was the hot one, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't Jan kind of attractive though? I'm looking at this picture right now. This
She was
collage. and-
she was dorky.
Wasn't she like
Was
the
she dorky?
youngest?
Yeah, no, that's the one with girls.
Oh, okay.
The one. I felt like I had to quote the song.
I don't remember their names.
Neither do
except
I.
for Marsha.
Marsha.
Everybody knows that. Did you guys watch that terrible movie when it came out?
The second one too.
The Brady Bunch movie.
Did you
Yes.
guys watch it? Really?
Oh yeah.
You guys, how old were you when that came out?
She was
Oh,
older than
gosh.
me.
I was probably maybe 12.
Really?
Yeah.
When
So
it
I was
came
like
out, the movie?
7.
Okay, yeah. It was so bad when when it came out, when we went to go see it, it was bad to my family, who was a religious family, because I guess, wasn't Marsha a lesbian, or there was a lesbian scene in it, right? The first one, some girlfriend of hers ended up liking her, Marsha.
I don't remember.
I remember there's some
now.
lesbian scene, and my mom's all, they're condoning lesbianism.
I don't know if I don't know if it was a lesbian thing. I know that her and Greg had a fling, and they were hot for each other. So it was so taboo that brother and sister had the hots for each other.
Yeah. He was too busy diddling 3 boys of his own. It's a terrible song. It'd be funny to see like a modern day TV show with this type of intro.
That'd be terrible.
What happened to the classics? The classic intros. Was this? Did you ever watch Brady Bunch, the TV show, Aisha?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you really? You weren't too young? Because you're, what, 21?
Yeah. Well, my
You were,
mom
like,
liked
2.
to watch TV Land.
Oh, one of those. That's my mom,
So
too.
I've seen, like, all of them. Like, I've seen Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, all that fun shit.
Worst. And Mr. Ed.
The original Dark Shadows. Like, I was probably one of the few people
Dark
my
Shadows
age.
on TV Land, too?
I think for a little while.
I don't know
Was
about
it?
that.
I would love it. I would love to have seen it. I never did. My mom said it was too bad for us to watch that when we were kids, so I remember.
It was kind of weird.
Was it Dark Shadows? Was it a little demo for kids?
Well,
maybe?
because like in every episode, they're like have this new like monster nemesis that they're pitted against that they have to figure out what to do about.
I want to watch it.
I think Netflix might have it, or they did for a little
Really?
bit.
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to look
I got
that
so
up.
excited.
There's this thing going on Facebook lately and in the social media realms where this whole like pretend feminist thing is kind of getting out of hand. Aisha, I kind of look at you like a feminist. You're a little bit like your personality and the way you speak, and
I'm definitely about women power.
Yeah, and you're, to me, you're what a real feminist is. You're confident. You are dominant. You speak your mind. You don't take shit from anybody, but you also don't hate men. And you also understand how things work in society. And you work on possibly changing certain things that you may not like. But you don't sit and demean men as well, which is that's the first thing you learn in grade school.
I have
that you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Negative opinions about men, but I don't feel the need to overly voice them.
Yeah.
If it comes up, I'll definitely let you know. But
yeah, well, there's this thing going on with this bare chest thing, which I see these posts by girls. A couple of them will post, "Hey, listen, it's no different than being bare-chested for a man is acceptable, but I get my picture taken down if I show my boobs on Facebook. This is not fair. Yada yada yada. Let's change this." And you know what? To an extent, I get it. In the grand scheme of things, in the big picture, yes, a guy's nude chest is no different than a woman's nude chest. In the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, when you break it down, it is exactly the same.
I know if I shaved mine and you put
don't say
picture
it.
up on the web, are these a man's or a woman's tits?
Don't say it.
do you have those cute, tiny little nipples?
No.
He has milk duds.
Now, the thing is that society, whether we want to agree with it, whether it's wrong, right, acceptable, or it should change, it doesn't matter. Plain and simple, the way we've all been brought up and groomed in society is that there is a big difference between a man's chest, his pecs, and boobs. The big picture, no, it's exactly the same. But because of the way society has made it, it is a big difference. And you trying to prove your point by posting nude pictures isn't going to prove your point. It's making you look stupid, and it's also inappropriate for people who have family members, who have kids who troll Facebook. It's not right to
grandmothers who let their kids use their Facebook.
Right, exactly. And I don't think I think when they try to prove their point that way, it's detrimental to their point. I wrote on her post, I actually said something to her in the effect of, listen, if Facebook thinks it's wrong, so be it. Don't let Facebook tell you it's wrong. If you want your boobs to be free, let them be free. Go walk down the street right now, take your shirt off, because it's all the same. And she never replied, never liked it, never did nothing. Because, listen, if you're going to be that much of an advocate where you are going to post things every day about Facebook, infringing on my rights, and I want to be nude, then what I want to see that woman do is I want to see her walk down the street on a hot day and take her shirt off and walk into a Chipotle with her boobs flopping, because that is what she wants to do, right? But you know what? I guarantee you she wouldn't do it. You know why? Because her boobs are a private thing, and she knows it. She knows that her titties are not for everybody to see. But she has this fake feminist mentality where she's got to prove this point. And I said, listen, until I see you walking down the street with your boobs free, your point is not being made, in my opinion. If you're going to stand... That's like me saying I think every man should walk around with his dick out. Everyone should walk out with his dick out. And then me, I'm like, Michael, you don't walk out with your dick out? No. Why would I do that? You're not proving your own point.
I get what you're saying about her being hypocritical and her point of view on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there shouldn't be an argument, but because of society's conditioning, it is an argument.
Yeah, and sadly, it's not gonna change. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean,
and it all stems back from historical times back. Women needed to be covered.
Yeah.
women had no opinions, women had no voice.
Well, we see it on TV as
So-
well, like Game of Thrones. People complain all day long, and Spartacus are the two shows I can think of where people be like, well, all they do is show women's boobs. I'm like, listen, Spartacus and Game of Thrones shows male penis. Okay, they show dick hanging on numerous episodes. We still have not seen a woman's vagina in Spartacus or Game of Thrones. I mean, we'll see. We're not full on. We're not seeing the inside of the vagina. We're seeing hair.
Well, I mean, are
and
we watching these primetime shows because they're
Right.
partially hardcore porn? Because
No.
that's what that is.
But the thing is that some of these same people are complaining that, oh, if there's boobs, then we should see more male penis. And I'm like, I don't really want to compare boobs to male penis but are we willing to have women start spreading their legs in Game of Thrones? Then I'd say it's on the same page as a man whipping his dick out. Because right now,
I have to say, like you said, it was softcore porn if she shows her vag, but why isn't it softcore porn when he shows his dick?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that it's kind of a bias.
When I said
a
hardcore
double
porn, like
bias.
if I have to see the inside of a vagina, like we've officially reached hardcore porn.
And with the camera. There's Tony.
Yeah. Speaking of Game of Thrones, you guys watch it this past week yet?
Fuck that episode.
Dude, holy hell, man.
Where have you been?
That show, every time you think you're going to get like a tidy little ending, like, oh, good, it's going to end, yay, great, it's going to end kind of happy in this one. They throw you like a curveball in the last 15 seconds. Listen, guys, you haven't seen this episode. Well, real quick spoiler here, 15 seconds. Like when he started peacocking, the guy, the Montoya guy.
Ron?
Yeah, the prince. Like when he started peacocking, saying, tell me what you did, I'm like, he's dead. He's dead. You should have just stabbed him through the head. You had him down. He was out for the count, but you had to peacock and prove a point. And then he had the worst death I've seen on that show.
Was that the only one that when he went out there and he tried to, and he like said who he was and he tried to get him confess, I thought of Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride.
Yeah. But at least when Inigo got cocky, he didn't get his skull smashed in.
I'm like, dude, that's just terrible. I was legitimately shocked. Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
Well,
very
and you knew, like, as soon as he got slapped in the face and all of his teeth kept blown out, like, you're dead. You're dead. You're not going to
He's
live
done.
more than, like, 25 seconds from right now.
and the facial expressions, man, of everybody, like Tyrion, and then the guy's wife, or his whatever his wife or his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's his wife.
Like their facial expressions were just priceless.
Tyrion shit his pants. And seriously, that fucking cunt, she got all happy and giddy.
Ugh, yeah.
You know what, man? That show throws me off. Does the dad, what's his name, Lannister dude? Does he just not?
Tywin?
Does he really just not give a shit?
No, he doesn't. He's concerned about the legacy and ruling the kingdom. So the fact that his eldest son and his daughter have fucked and seem to have had multiple kids already with each other. That doesn't give a shit to them because they're keeping the bloodline pure for the Lannisters.
Yeah.
Yet
I find it kind of I get confused sometimes. I don't know if it's just me wanting wishful thinking in my mind, like the romantic in me. I'm hoping that the father actually does love his kids and loves Tyrion. And every time you think maybe is he actually going to feel sorry for him? I think he might. I think I see something.
Well,
and then sure enough, he doesn't. He's just straight up business.
That's one thing that makes the series, in my opinion, on top of better than other fantasy series, because they always try and tie everything up or like have somebody have a change of heart, whereas this, it's like, I mean, this is how, I mean, to me, this is how I envision like medieval times really being, except this one actually has dragons and magic and shit.
That didn't really happen.
No.
But it seems to me like every time somebody does like a medieval that totally.
Greg's not in it today. You're right, dude.
I'll explain after the show. They're like, oh, this is medieval times. But everybody has a change of heart, apparently, where they're like, you know what? I am the dipshit king, but fuck it. If she wants to marry a fucking commoner who, shovels shit for a living, why not?
Yeah.
This is medieval times. Everybody loves each other. Bullshit.
Yes!
Exactly. I mean, people stabbed everybody in the back in the fucking medieval times. Hell, even after that. Fuck, I mean, look at the history of the Pope. I mean, you had families, like, stabbing each other in the back to get their guy, the Pope, like... And then if they didn't like the Pope, they had the anti-Pope. On another note, there are 14 popes named Gregory and 2 anti-popes. So just everybody knows. I have a direct line to God.
So stupid. For
Fuck
no
you all.
reason. Speaking of Greg, for a second, I guess I have a retraction to make. on this Man of Steel thing, dude, and I think you guys might have known this, but you guys weren't I guess you guys weren't getting my questions. Like, okay, I recently read it. I think Tony mentioned this, but I read the article he was talking about dealing with Man of Steel from the Kevin Smith article, because I guess he has the inside scoop, I guess. However, this article, it makes sense now what they're doing. I posted it on our Facebook page. Basically, it's Kevin Smith, blogging. It's about I think about 4 or 5 paragraphs of him talking about what DC's doing, and he explained it as to, and this is just clarifying what I said last week. They're basically doing reverse Marvel. Instead of establishing characters in their own episode, what they're hoping to do is establish characters in this upcoming Superman-Batman flick. And then from there, they'll take those characters and make their other shows.
That's cool and all, but they have to build. They have this Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
that movie has to be well done. It can't just kind of be slapped together and then like a big visual effects spectacle.
And,
he has. He has a point. I mean that is what they're doing. But again, they're going to introduce characters that nobody fucking knows who they are. Like the casual person that got into comics or that got into superheroes because of all the Marvel films and albeit the Batman films and whatnot. They're not going to fucking know who Cyborg is, or some of them might not even know who Wonder Woman is, or who Aquaman or Flash or Green Arrow are, unless they've been watching the shows. So DC's taking a giant gamble at doing a fucking Tarantino.
I get what they're doing. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, don't reinvent the wheel, DC. Marvel did it right, and I think. See, for example, the reason why Avengers, and you agree Avengers was a pretty good movie,
Avengers
right?
was awesome.
Now, the reason why Avengers was good is that there was no need for character development. Because at
they
that
spent
point,
the time...
each standalone movie was character development for those characters,
but
so that when you got, it's like, yes, Avengers is finally here, you didn't waste any time on character development. You knew the characters, you knew their weaknesses, their strengths, you knew what their problems and their issues were internally. You knew the psychology of all these characters at this point. You already understood everything going on with these characters, so you could just jump right into Avengers and you already had the inside track. You knew what was going on, you knew these characters. Now, with DC, what they're doing is they're going to jump into this Justice League movie, because that, again, what this article said by Kevin Smith, not only are they doing a reverse Marvel, but they are bypassing Man of Steel too. Because I know Tony mentioned that that's what they're thinking of doing. According to Kevin Smith, he straight up said they are bypassing Man of Steel 2. This is not Man of Steel 2. This is the first Justice League movie.
Like when I went and saw X-Men, and I'm very vehement about that. I think that's in the X-Men films. I believe that's the best in the scope of all. In the scope as a film within the superhero realm. Yeah, I thought it was utter shit. The only part I really liked was the after credits.
I thought it was a good movie if you knew everything about X-Men, like the characters they put in there.
In the films, is a wide array X-Men film. I wouldn't even say it was good.
Well, because like my mother, I went to go see it with my mom, and my mom didn't know what was going on, and like she's all, I don't understand who's these characters. There was no development of character. It was just like, boom, here you go, and they treated it like what it was. It was X-Men 5. And you should know who Wolverine is. You should know who Professor Xavier is. You should know who Magneto is at this point. And I do get that. But when you've taken a break that long, they probably should have given you a little bit of development, because the last we saw was Wolverine at the end of his movie talking to Xavier, hey, there's something coming. And then all of a sudden it's a dark future now. I think they made it to where it worked, where people weren't asking questions. But when you went back and reflected on it, you're like, damn, they just threw you in with no explanation, and boom, you're here in this movie. And I think overall it was executed okay, but for someone who really never watched any of the movies, it would be complete loss. It would be like, I have no idea what's going on.
And that's the thing is that, DC's taking a giant gamble. Now, if they had just made it like a Superman-Batman film, and then say at the end they introduced like Wonder Woman, or Batman brought up starting the Justice League, then that's a great setup.
Hey, by the way, Superman, I think we should start Justice League. What do you think?
Well, not that, but like like they've done it in the cartoons where they've talked about bringing other heroes together as kind of a watchdog for the world and all that. DC's taking a giant gamble, and I mean,
They
the
are.
only thing they're doing right is TV shows as
they're not
late,
able
so.
to do. They're not going to be able to develop those characters correctly in the first Justice League movie. And like you said, and we need to change topics, but I mean the Cyborg guy, Wonder Woman. People don't know anything about their history, their backstories, and they're just going to throw them in the movie.
Well, Wonder Woman's a little bit more well known, but I'm like Cyborg. You have to have read like Teen Titans and all that shit to even know who he is.
Wonder Woman, yes, is well known. She is kind of a mainstream name because of a TV show, but in the grand scheme of things, like people don't really know anything about her, like how what her real. Most people don't know she has an invisible helicopter. People don't know that. Like, what doesn't she have like a whip or something or a rope she uses? A character who's such a weird character to begin with, it's like Wonder Woman's a hard character to make a movie for when you think about it, and they're just gonna throw her in there. It's going to be confusing. I don't know. Time will tell. Things like every week now we're talking about this, but I just wanted to kind of do a retraction on that and say, kind of sum up what Tony, I think, was trying to say last week, and it didn't really come through because I think he even mentioned the Kevin Smith article. So that's for some of the listeners. I know we had some people pipe in about that. So on that note, we do need to go to a break. We're going to come back, and we have Jason Roberts from Alternative Real News going to be talking with us. We're going to get a little serious for a minute, talking net neutrality and Edward Snowden. Is he a spy or is he not? Or is he a good man or is he a bad man? Is he a good witch or a bad witch? We'll be right back.
And now, we take you back in time.
So a man whips a girl to the beat of Blurred Lines. Every time it hit, he whipped her. And he actually videotaped it and sent it to his girlfriend.
Wait, man whips a girl to the beat of Blurred Lines? That's kind of cool.
For reasons ranging from skipping school to her failure to vacuum up bugs.
Bitch better vacuum up bugs.
Start it over.
On the beat, he did it?
Yeah. She's got a pretty bad whipping.
That guy has some good rhythm to be able to do that.
It's a white guy, too.
Bitch, hold still. You're messing up my rhythm. I'm almost getting it. I will,
every
bitch,
beat
if
you get a whip.
If you don't vacuum up those goddamn bugs, I swear to God, I'm gonna whip you to the beat of Blurred Lines. I ain't playing.
You imagine just... I'm sorry. I would laugh if I saw this. I'm sorry. I would. I'd be like, dude, this guy's awesome.
Hold still. Hold still. You're messing up my rhythm. I almost have it. Okay? But shut up. Don't scream yet. Only scream when Pharrell comes in. Ready? We're going to start over. When Pharrell comes in, then you scream. Ready? On my cue. Ready? Set. Go. Here we go. Now, bitch.
This is so wrong. Oh, man. Actually, that's not Pharrell, is it? It's T.I. I mean T.I. Wait when T.I. comes in, then he'll scream.
Oh, God, that's funny. Oh, that's good stuff.
The Rain Man Show.
49% geek and 1% douche.
Stitcher review. You can help us. Thomas, I don't know if you guys even know about this, but on Stitcher, we have most of our listenership is on iTunes and Stitcher.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And in order for us to keep growing as a show, what the listeners can do, in fact, you guys can tell people in your everyday life, people you may see, is leave us a review on Stitcher. All you do on Stitcher is you go to the app or on your computer and just look for the little comic bubble, the little talking bubble. You click on review, you press submit. It takes a couple minutes.
I mean, it could even be awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Just say that.
Just say awesome.
Ryan Denton told me to just say awesome.
This is my review.
If someone does that, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Fellas, are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all. Oh, no. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs for a little inspiration. Plus, a free extra gift so sensual, we can't mention it on the radio. And to top it all off, we'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. And no, we're not teasing. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. Get 50% off one item when you type DEAL30 for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you'll get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free shipping. Just use offer code DEAL30 at adamandeve.com.
The world of Rain Man never stops. You can now listen to our broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go to rainmanwashere.com/rainmanchannel001. Also available on demand. Go to rainmanwashere.com. All right, we have Jason Roberts, the man who runs the alternative news, the real alternative news site. We've talked to him. For those of you who've listened to me before on the radio, on the airwaves, we've spoken to him before on Triple M. He hates GMO and the American people. No, he doesn't. He doesn't hate the American people. How you doing, Jason?
Good. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me back.
I've missed talking to you because nobody likes to talk about stuff like you do. Like, I could bitch about certain stuff all day long, and not a lot of people like to discuss it. You know, they get upset, they start feeling uncomfortable. You know, so I mean, in my family, I've become the guy that kind of like bitches about things that no one else understands. Like, what's net neutrality? You know,
I know. It gets to the point where you don't want to bring it up anymore because you don't have anyone to ping pong with. That's kind of what springboarded the alternative real news website was. I was starting to get defriended by everybody on Facebook because no one, the PC police are always out in full force and no one's allowed to speak their mind anymore and don't offend anybody and keep to yourself. And, yeah, I feel you.
That's true. Well, you know what, man? It's from what I've been reading, I know last year, I think it was about a year ago now, when you and I discussed Snowden, and we didn't see eye to eye with Snowden, you were kind of like, yes, he should release this information. I was kind of like, no, dude, this guy, willingly, worked for the NSA. He knew what he was doing. He should have, there could have been other ways for him to do stuff. Now, I did listen to his recent interview last week, and I was very anti-Snowden, and now I'm in an area that I don't know. I'm in an area that I don't know if I'm anti or pro. I mean, you can look at this a couple ways with Snowden. He has officially admitted that he is a spy. There is no ifs, ands, and buts. It isn't a conspiracy theory. He says, I am the definition of a spy. I worked in countries under assumed identities. I did jobs that weren't my jobs while I was doing other things. And yes, he has brought to light in this recent interview, which if people have not seen it, definitely check it out. It is on the NBC's website, or you can go to YouTube and just Google Snowden full interview. It's there. I mean, well, let me hear your take on Snowden first, and then I'm going to go back and forth with you. Now that you've seen this interview, have your thoughts changed a little bit on Snowden for the good, or have you looked at him a little differently and maybe in the negative now?
Neither. I mean, I think that it's aligned with the exact same way I thought of a year ago. I think the conversation has gotten changed. I might have said this a year ago, but I think the government's so good at changing the conversation, the media, to let's talk about Snowden and hang him. Meanwhile, let's not discuss the evidence of what he's bringing to light. And the real person I want on the jury is the NSA, the government.
Yeah.
what they're doing and how they've run away with the Fourth Amendment, as they talk about. Some people talk about some of the First Amendments being broken, but I mean, I think that's what we need to be looking at as a people. And I think he made a really good point that a lot of people don't think about, and saying, you know, people say, why don't you come home and face the music? And he says, well, keep in mind what happened when Bradley Manning came home and faced the music. We're not going to hear from the guy again. And he goes, all that happens is when you get whistleblowers like that come out, they get thrown in jail, that the key is pitched away. And keep in mind that these courts, they go, the trials, they go on behind closed doors, right? So it's not like the public can see and chime in.
Right.
He's walking to his death sentence. So what does that do to the next guy that wants to speak up?
Right.
It shuts them up is what it does, right? Because they don't want to come out. Now, way before Snowden and these guys, maybe you know about them, that there was a couple other NSA employees out that also kind of did the same thing and came out. One of them is Thomas Drake. One of them, I think, was like Kirk Levy or something like that. But they followed the exact channels that you're supposed to, right? They came out, they blew the whistle, they ran up the chain of command. They didn't say anything to the public. What happened to them is they both wound up in court. Their homes got raided. Their lives have more or less been destroyed ever since. And these are high-level NSA guys. These aren't some lowly guys. So, I mean, that kind of sets the platform for what Snowden's looking at. And in a lot of ways, I think he has, even if he's the bad guy in some people's mind or eye or view, who cares? Because, I mean, that's fine, but at least we're having the conversation. We understand these things that otherwise we wouldn't. He found a way to make frontline news and get information out in a way that nobody else has been able to do.
Yeah, it's weird with him because it's an odd place, man. If what he's saying is true, and a lot of it is, I mean, there's facts. However, let's say his motives are slightly different than what he says. Like, he's a patriot. Because this is why I find it hard to believe a man who number one, who admitted that he was a spy. Okay, I want to go bring it back to that just to play devil's advocate. He admitted he's a spy. What do spies do for a living? They're liars. They lie. They deceive. They backstab. I find it hard to believe a man 100% who admits that he's a spy. Another reason why I find it hard to believe this guy and find out in his true motives is if he's a spy, he's no longer a low-level analyst who turned whistleblower mentality. Well, I got to get the truth out. He's an American spy who should know better than releasing. Again, I know he says he only released documents that cannot harm people. But with the thousands in his interview, which I haven't heard this before, in his interview, he admits that he released, obviously thousands of documents. The deals that he made with the journalists that will release the information, and I love the part how they do their fact checking and their sources before they even release what he says. I love it. I love that they allow the American government to actually pipe in first before they release it. They actually let them have a say before they release anything, which I think is a great way. That's journalism right there at its finest. That's my kudos and my hats off to them for that. However, he gave all these documents away, and with the stipulation that you will not release military secrets, anything that can hurt American people or American troops, soldiers overseas, yada, yada, yada. But he's entrusting these journalists not to leak things to foreign agencies, to people in Russia, to people in China, we have so many enemies that's my biggest problem with what he did. He says, well, I made a stipulation that they cannot release any documents that are relating to things that are not pertaining to the American people and the spying in itself. He's putting a lot of faith and trust in a handful of people not to get rid of this information. What's going to happen if crucial, vital information to our national security does get released? That's my biggest fear with what Snowden's done.
Well, and he's a smart guy, right? And so we would have to assume that he wouldn't release anything that is going to harm us or harm anybody in a way that he's saying he's doing. But to reel it back in and bring it to the bigger point, when you talk about him being a spy, what's his real motive? Yeah. I think is kind of what you're getting at. I always bring it back down to the basics. Let's look and see what he's done. I mean, the thing that he's done is he's brought the country back by saying, hey, they're treading all over the Fourth Amendment. They bypass us. They're intruding. They're coming into our homes and listening to what we're saying, watching what we're doing. It's all being collected on us, even though we aren't doing anything wrong. Do we really want this?
Right.
And they look back to look how a lot of tight-knit governments do it. Where how many of us break laws? All of us at some point in time, right? Break some sort of law, whether it's downloading something illegally. So it comes back to the fact that you get a lot of governments will come in, right? You'll do something illegal. They'll know you do it. And then when your head pops up like, hey, I want to speak up and do something right, they say, go ahead and do that. By the way, we want to make sure we serve you with this or whatever, right? It's a control mechanism. So I don't see anything so far that he's done that's harmed anyone in particular. I'm not saying that he hasn't. I think it's very likely any time that you leak something huge, you might tip your hand a little bit. But come on, let's face it, like all the other countries in the world, they know the technology exists. They know we're doing it. We're not teaching the bad guys anything. We're teaching dummy 1 and 2 behind the TV that don't know anything's going on behind the scenes. Hey, check this out, So you bring it back to that, and if he just wanted to be a spy, leak information, right, and try to hurt us,
right?
We may have never heard about him. I mean, he wouldn't have made the big, cahoots that he made and then took off and switched countries. So I don't know. I think that I believe him. I think that there's probably a little bit of deceit. For instance, when he was talking about if we want to talk about Snowden and not the underlying thing of what he's trying to bring forward, when he talks about the Russian government, they haven't taken any interest in you, whatever. Well, I watch a lot of body language, and
I think he's lying about that,
definitely
man.
lying there,
yeah,
for sure.
Because in the interview, man, if you look at his face, that was his one tell, man. He did make a facial expression that looked like a lie. His body language gave it away. There's no way in hell that the Russian government has not approached him, and Putin himself has not, propped himself up in front of him, especially if he is a spy. Because first off, the Russian government would be remiss to not do it. I would be like, what type of government are you running here? I mean, if we had a Russian spy in this country, you better know that we would be instantly trying to figure out what he knows, what he doesn't know, what's all the little ins and outs and the secrets. I mean, who knows? His motives, it has brought in a lot of positive things to light. And his motives can be, it could be not exactly what it is. It could be just the fact that shaking the structure of our government and our faith in government, that could be his motive. That could be him working for another foreign agency and, hey, listen, we don't want to do anything bad because if you do anything too bad, people then look like you're a liar. Let's do something mild, like a little jab to the back, something that makes you look like a good guy and that you're a patriot and you love this country, but at the same time, it's going to shake the structure and our faith in our government at a time that it's already being tried a lot, And
well, I think the government does that itself, right? I mean, when they're arming up with 1 billion rounds of ammunition and all the other shit. I mean, the same way that they said he never went through proper channels. Then all of a sudden, oops, an email leak.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry, forgot about that one. I mean, they're consistent liars. All we have to do is look back through history. I mean, government is a dog that once it's off its leash, it's hard to get back on. It's off its leash. So I even view that as a positive thing. We should all be weary of the government because as soon as you turn a blind eye, they have unlimited resources into taxing you, taking as much money as they want and doing what they want with it. And that's how it's been. I mean, I've seen nothing bad that's come out of it. And again, it's not like I'm really supporting him as much as what he's brought to light. But even though, like, I really hate to see people like him punished in that way for that exact reason.
I think he should be punished. Okay, let me go play devil's advocate against myself now. Let's say what he did was right. He had no motives. Bottom line, he is a traitor. He did release information that he worked for the United States government. He isn't a civilian. If he was a civilian, per se, then I think he would have more of a right to expose that information and say, I'm a patriot. He's an American government spy who sold his life to the United States government, and there should be repercussions for breaking the rules and the law. He even says he broke the law, and sometimes to do the right thing is to break the law. He should face the consequences, even if the next president wants to, grant him clemency. I think it would be sending the wrong message to other spies in our country, saying, I think it's just like the whole thing about dealing with terrorists. Why don't we deal with terrorists? Why don't we negotiate with terrorists? Because then it'll be a heyday United States. Same thing with spies. If we allow spies to get away with stuff, even if they may be right, I think it'll end up hurting the structure of our spy network and the way our government works. Because there should be, in my personal opinion, Jason, there's some things that I don't think the regular population should know is wrong.
But I mean that stuff, that stuff I don't think is sensitive. And I guess the part where I
agree, but when's it going to happen the next time that you may have something that is sensitive, but, spy number 2 comes out and decides to, divulge information, and it may be damaging, or it may end up killing people. Who knows? But that's why I don't think the government should forgive him publicly.
But you got to look at it too. It's the point where he's bringing forward information that's helping everyday people and helping keeping the government in check and keep our lives. I know we're going to roll into net neutrality here in a little bit. Look at that, and how is net neutrality looked at now that we see Edward Snowden and we know what the NSA is doing and we know all the listening are doing, all the control they already have over the internet. And now we look at more control over the internet.
Yeah.
How much more likely are we to stand up for ourselves with that now that he's come out? And I mean, look at in terms of Congress, in terms of a lot of the bills they've tried to pass to get a grasp on this, of PRISM and some of these other programs that have come out. I mean, I think that it's really hard when I look at him more as a whistleblower. And I mean, he didn't run off to some other country and sneak, say, hey, look at all these documents I got. He came out on TV, outing himself. So, I mean, I look at that a little bit differently because the same way that you kind of brought up earlier, he did admit to breaking the law, but just because the law is made doesn't mean it's right. Look at the laws that we broke before we came to America, shooting at the redcoats even, right? And we had to break a lot of laws to get here and, quote, unquote, I'm using finger air quotes, found America, sorry, Native Americans, but we didn't found anything, but found America. So I don't know, man. I think that we disagree there a little bit, but I hear where you're coming from. I know it's a very heated topic, and I can see both sides of it, and that's why I say let's move away from the Edward Snowden thing and let's focus on the information, because I think that we can collectively agree there, and I think the media's done a fantastic job of getting bipartisan, discussion over Edward Snowden as a human being and what he did. Yeah. But if we look at information, what's being collected, I think, whether you're blue, red, or whatever else, you're going to look at it and say, yeah, no, this is something that needs to be monitored. I mean, the fact that he have access to all this and sneak out with all this that easily, I mean, come on, as a contract point, right?
I agree with that. I agree that there's going to be, it kind of goes to like the parties, the infighting with Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, how people say, listen, what, we all agree on one thing, right? Then, we're always going to disagree on certain little things, but it's the big picture that most agree and what we should focus on, which we've just basically discussed. The spying thing is out of hand, and it does need to be snipped. Now, when it comes to net neutrality, I mean, dude, we saw it already. Let's give something that's been in the news recently with Netflix and Comcast, okay? Yes, that's not a net neutrality issue, but the deal they made was because of people trying to buy their way to the top. For example, if you look at I have a graph in front of me that shows the bandwidth that was allowed to Netflix in February, okay, January. It's at an all-time low because they refused to deep play ball with Comcast. When Netflix agreed to pay the fees that Comcast pulled out of their asshole, because that's what they did. Comcast pulled just figures out of their asshole and said, listen, Netflix, if you want to stream, with no buffering and you want a perfect internet stream for your memberships, this is your fee. This is what you're going to pay. And the following 3 weeks after the contract was signed, their buffering and their bandwidth went skyrocketing above everybody else because they're paying a premium. If we start paying premiums on the internet, it's going to hurt the foundation of almost everything. The way we communicate, the way the little man communicates, specifically with people like you, Jason, who is a freedom fighter, I call you, and who runs alternative sites. What's going to happen if... And I think if you look at this from a conspiracy side, or not even that much of a conspiracy side, if you look at this as, hey, Fox News, CNN, NBC, all these mainstream outlets now are losing their listenership / viewership to alternative sites. A lot of these alternative sites don't have the budgets that these big people do. Now, how come all of a sudden net neutrality is an issue? Because they want to shut down. I wouldn't doubt this. They want to shut down the little man. They don't want us popping up in search engines as fast. They want someone to go to your site and not be able to load it as quick. Oh my God, this is taking 45 effing seconds. I'm going to go to Fox News and check out their watered down, news that that they want us to see, and it loads in 2 seconds. That just gave a really brief example of what net neutrality can do to us.
Well, I think you nailed it. And it's funny because I wrote down just like a couple sentences of notes, and you pretty much verbatim said where my mind was at. I mean, truly, like that's almost exactly what I said. But I mean, look at Verizon and AT&T, as soon as they started tiering and throttling or controlling your data, in terms of it used to be unlimited, now it's limited. And so what happens when you start having different packages that say, okay, you pay this amount for this speed and you pay this amount for this much? It never, ever, ever benefits the consumer, ever. And we looked at the Red Button Act that was, they tried to push through 18 months or 2 years back with Obama, and so now they're coming at it more instead of from the government side, more from the company side, corporation side. What happens if this passes? It opens the floodgates. Now all of a sudden we've allowed control on something, really the last forum that we've had for free speech and to be able to shut off, like you said, as small guys. No one's going to want to sit there and wait for some Huffington Post. I mean, that's maybe one of the bigger ones, but some alternative news site. I even think of Alex Jones, the way they start throttling them and getting back at them.
Or Drudge Report.
Their Drudge Report, right, exactly. So they force you into the big ones that, guess what, are owned by who? The same people that own Comcast and all these big internet provider sites. So, I mean, it's a monopoly waiting to happen. We already have it with money, and we have it with our TV already, and we've known that they've been coming after the internet for a long time. This isn't a surprise.
Well, dude, they couldn't win. They can't say they're going to take it away. They don't want to censor us because that's a big no-no, and the people who are uneducated / ignorant, and I don't say that in a bad way, but the people who are not hip to what's going on, like my mother, she doesn't know what net neutrality is or what's going to do. They don't realize, because if the news headline was censorship on the internet, everybody, it would send red flags everywhere. So what's the next best thing? Let's create tiering. Let's charge people more money, and you know what's going to happen is we're going to have the areas that are already the people who are not in the know, the poverty areas, the people that already can't afford certain things. Who you have the uneducated people. Typically, you have them in the poverty areas. That goes why that goes without saying. Now what they want to do is they want to create more dumb people, because if they start hiking up the prices, you're not going to have people that can afford certain types of internet. They're going to basically close down any type of information that we could research on our own, because what's going to pop up easy is the bullshit, the watered down bullshit, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to corral us into seeing what they want us to see.
Of course. And who did Obama appoint to run this?
Who?
The main guy who's been head lobbyist for the cable company. Yeah. He's now cheering the FCC on this. I mean, it's the same way that you get people from Monsanto that come over that head, USDA and stuff like that. It's just the same revolving door back and forth over and over again.
The FCC has been pining for control of the internet. That's why the fact that they say, hey, go to the FCC's website, which I think we should all go someplace and let our voice be heard. However, FCC is probably they're right in it, man. The FCC has been trying to grip a hold on the internet and cable for years because they're losing control. The things they control are no longer the main draw anymore. Broadcast television isn't a big draw as much as other things anymore, the internet and cable networks. So what's happening? You have them wanting to grip power and control. Dude, I guarantee you they want this net neutrality shit. I mean, yes, we can go to their site. What's the site, by the way, that people can go, and I urge everybody to go and make comments. That's what they want everyone to do. What is the site? What is the site you have in front of you?
Yeah, fcc.gov/comments with an S. And it's funny because it's super slow, so you got to be patient. While you were talking, I was trying to pull up a couple of
Maybe they should pay a premium.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up a couple to read what people are writing. It's taking forever, which I actually saw that after John Oliver ran that bit, which good on him, man. A new TV show, and good for him for taking the bull by the horns and not being intimidated by the same guys that empower him and, cut his paycheck in a lot of ways. But anyways, it's slow as heck. But they crashed it after he ran that. So after that aired, it literally crashed the website, which is awesome. Hilarious.
Are you a fan of John Oliver? Have you, you know what, I'll be honest, I've never heard of him until this
really?
Dude, I don't like cable, I'm not a big fan of, Jon Stewart, and who's the guy in HBO, who's basically up Obama's asshole now, used to be a funny comedian, but he's, what's his name,
Not Bill Maher.
Yes, Bill Maher used to be a genius, but now he's so far up the Obama's ass, and it's a long story. So I quit watching a lot of these comedy / news reports. So John Oliver's relatively knew, comparatively to Stewart and Bill Maher. So I never really paid attention. I heard of his name, yes, but I never really paid attention to him. I just thought he was more the same.
Oh, sorry. I watched John Stewart's show. So he's been a backman for him, for a few years, and he's never really. He did have one opportunity to shine when John Stewart left to shoot the film that he was shooting. They let Oliver kind of take over, and that was the platform that gave him the spotlight to allow him to kind of be seen. But he was always really timid, and it wasn't that I didn't like him, but he was no one that ever stood out to me as an amazing TV presence or great personality for TV. But from what little I've seen on the show, he's ran stuff, and again, he hasn't been timid at all. Yeah. And it's funny that these comedy shows, I don't know whether to laugh or cry, I guess, but a lot of these comedy shows have been a better source of actual news.
Well, and he kind of hit it on the head with that whole with the whole net neutrality, as the way they make you not know what's going on is by dressing it up very boring, is what he said in his interview, in that whole rant he did, which is genius, man. You need to make things entertaining today. If you want the message to get out there, you need to wrap it up in a form of something that can be digested by the mainstream, I should say, people. Because we're in a world, where everything needs to be fast. Everything needs to be, within 10, 15 seconds. I need to know what's going on now. I don't want to do research. I don't want to do this. And I think that's what John Oliver did so well with that net neutrality, is he dressed it up in a very, I counted, because I love that shit. I counted, dude. He did not go more than 12 seconds without a punchline, without a joke.
Right.
He would.
Well, there has to be a lot of noise nowadays, right? Because we need to be entertained. But his comment about "don't worry, it's just the tip, and that's all we want," is perfectly worded. It's exactly what they're trying to do. But yeah, he made it fun. He made it funny, and now it's a household name because of someone like him. So.
Yeah. I hope so, and I hope it doesn't. Dude, I can't imagine. I want to have faith in the American people that we would not allow this type of thing to happen. Where we have to start charging more to have better internet, and it would ruin. It really would. Not to rehash what we just talked about, but it would ruin the small man, the voice. It would diminish the voice that we have on the interwebs. And which is an atrocity, in my opinion.
And think about this too. At what point have we ever given hold to something like this and say given up certain rights and then been able to change our mind and get them back later? Once it's done, it's done. Yeah. We never reclaim that. So, if we let this slip through, not to be a doom and gloom guy, but I don't think we'll ever see a free, if you want to call it free now, which I still think it is, a free internet again. Yeah. Granted, you got the NSA that's done some shady things, like they've tapped off of, I don't know if you know this, but the Google servers and a lot of the main server hubs where the information comes in, they actually wide and tapped off of them. That's how they get a lot of their information. But nonetheless, it's still free to where, like you pointed out earlier, anybody can post something and you can get just as quick access to it, assuming they have a good host as someone else without having to pay more. And yeah, it's insane. I'm not surprised, but it's insane. And I just hope enough people take hold and say something. I see over 47,000 comments so far on that website. I'm looking at it right now, fcc.gov.
And that's great. That's great to see it, but we need 20 times that. We need 200 times that. 47,000 in the grand scheme of things. How many web users do we have in this country? We need that.
Right, and we need people going to, and I think you're going to post the link to the website. You can find your local representatives, and it only takes a second to email them and just say, hey, this is crazy. We don't support this. I'm a voting citizen. I have my eye on how you vote and represent us, and want to make my voice heard that, we in no way, shape, or form support this, and do that, blow it up. They might not read every single thing. You can keep it kind of short, but you can bet when they get 10, 15, 20,000 emails, about the same thing, they have people to scan it, and they say, sir, we've got, X thousand of people against this net neutrality thing. They do take notice, seriously. So they might not read every single one, but they're important, man. So send that out. I haven't seen anyone that's done it yet, but, you and I see all the time on Facebook the petitions that people put together that you can go on these websites where you just have to kind of click through and put I agree sort of thing.
I'll post that link. I'll post the link on our Facebook within a little bit here and make sure people know what's going on. If we can get 250,000 people to sign a petition for the United States government to make the Death Star, I think we can have more people sign this. Come on.
Right.
Anyways. Yeah. So, all right, Jason, we got to wrap. Thank you for calling in. I want to have you back again. Maybe every couple of weeks, we're going to have you call in with some hot points to help us help to get us and our listeners on the right path to thinking straight.
I don't know if I can do that, but happy to call in anytime and chat and at least be open-minded. So thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Bye.
Don't go nowhere. The Rain Man will be right back.
Our top story tonight concerns the internet, aka the electronic cat database. But first, let's take just a moment together and appreciate how amazing the internet is. You can use it to file your taxes, apply for jobs. You can go online right now and buy a case of coyote urine. Do you know how difficult it used to be to obtain coyote urine? You literally had to give a coyote Gatorade and just wait. It was a mess. The system was a mess. But if you've turned on the news lately, you may have heard some worrying references to the internet changing.
The Federal Communications Commission has agreed to move forward on a proposal that could change the way we use the internet. At risk, the basic principle of net neutrality.
Net neutrality. Net neutrality. Yes, net neutrality. The only two words that promise more boredom in the English language are featuring Sting. And hearing people talk about it is somehow even worse.
As anticipated, the notice proposes to ground the net neutrality rules in Section 706 of the Telecommunications Act of 1996.
Oh my God, that is the most boring thing I've ever seen. That is even boring by C-SPAN standards. I would rather read a book by Thomas Friedman than sit through that hearing. I would rather listen to a pair of dockers tell me about the weird dream it had. I would rather sit down with my niece and watch Caillou, a children's show about a bald Canadian child who lives a life devoid of any incident. Fuck you, Caillou! Grow some hair and leave the house. Find out what the world's about. Come on. But here's the thing. Net neutrality is actually hugely important. Essentially, it means that all data has to be treated equally, no matter who creates it. It's why the internet is a weirdly level playing field. And startups can supplant established brands. That's how Facebook supplanted MySpace, which supplanted Friendster, which supplanted actually having any friends.
Fellas, are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all. Oh, no. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs for a little inspiration. Plus, a free extra gift so sensual, we can't mention it on the radio. And to top it all off, we'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. And no, we're not teasing. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. Get 50% off one item when you type DEAL30 for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you'll get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free shipping. Just use offer code DEAL30 at adamandeve.com.
Hey, ass butt.
Let's look at your diversity. Let's audition you right now,
Oh,
Theo.
God. Okay.
Okay, you give us a monologue of sorts, or your sides. You can go over your sides if you have them. But give us I want to hear an American accent. I want to hear your version of an American accent.
Right. I thought you were going to make me do Scottish like you said you were.
Oh, come on.
No.
That's too easy, man.
We've heard that one.
Okay.
Listen.
Well, actually, before I try the American, which usually I have time to prepare.
I'm going to help you out. You said your method, correct? So let's give you a little help here, okay?
Okay.
Pretend I am. Let's say who's a big director right now. Let's see.
Right now.
Yeah, Ian Michael Bay.
Okay.
Okay.
Jesus.
Gosh.
Michael Bay.
You went there.
Hey, listen. You know what? The work will be. What do you guys call it? Shat. It'll be. Is that you guys call it? It'll be shit work, but the paycheck will get you laid. Okay. So listen.
Oh my God.
So I'm Michael Bay, and
Exactly.
Carry on my
Don't miss the all-new Supernatural fan show, The Crossroads. Available on Stitcher and iTunes. Search The Crossroads.
I kept on seeing him look at me while he's with that other girl. Do you think he was just doing that to make me jealous? Because he was totally texting me all night last night, and I don't know if it's a booty call or not. So, what do you think? Did you think that girl was pretty? How did that girl even get in here? Do you see her? She's so short, and that dress is so tacky. Who wears cheetah? It's not even summer. Why does the DJ keep on playing Summertime Sadness? After we get out of the bathroom, can we go smoke a cigarette? I really need one. But first, let me take a selfie.
Alright, we're back. This is my new jam. I'm not a pro selfie or anything, but I hate it because I put this in rotation on the channel. I just like the EDM beat. I just like the track. But I do like the selfie chick that you're talking. Good.
Have you seen the music video?
No.
It's kind of funny.
Oh, yes, I have seen it. We do have Melissa in studio for... well, hold on. Oh, God. We do have Melissa in studio. She's in, as I said earlier in the show, we do have a new segment that we're going to be doing. I don't know how often we're going to do it, but I'm calling it... what am I calling it? I'm calling it Not Bad Dating Tips.
For a mediocre dating lifestyle.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but first... I want to talk briefly because we're getting ready to go to the Comic-Con, Aisha, and you're going to see a lot of these girls here, which I like a lot of these cosplay girls, but I'm thinking of doing a new segment. I'm going to talk about webcam girls first here, but I'm thinking of doing a new segment. I'm trying to think of new things to do each week to keep the show fresh, and I want to do kind of what we did earlier on in the lives with like the hot chick of the week. I figured, let's get something that's really relevant on the internet, which is, webcam chicks are huge right now on the internet. Huge. They're like the new thing. And it would be nice because there is internet. We're internet. And maybe do have like a webcam chick of the month, whatever. And we can host her on her site and kind of promote her. And she can talk to us a little bit, 15, 20 minutes on the air, yada, yada, yada. But as I was trolling the interwebs, for webcam chicks, but it kind of reminds me of the kid Elliot Rodger. The hate that he had on women. I mean... You get these guys, okay? I don't know if you guys ever been to webcam rooms, but you go to these webcams and there's just 24 hours of chicks just logging into webcams and doing shows. And a lot of times they don't even do anything. They'll just talk. They'll talk to a camera. Don't take their clothes off. They just talk. Basically, the idea, I guess, is so that a guy feels like he's in the room with a girl and he's just talking to her.
Yeah, but it's like 50 guys in one chat room.
Right. But my thing is this, is that there's guys that will start posting like horrific hate in these chat rooms, like name calling her, you're a dumb webcam whore, you fucking bitch, you like to suck dick, you're a loser, you could have been a Playboy model, and I thought maybe, just maybe, this guy dated her once, okay? That was the first time I visited. Then I go to the next room, and you have more hate, and I'm like, these guys, like, log in to just hate on these girls, like, why are you doing that? Why are you spending that much effort? And it shows like the hate that some of these guys have pertaining. And I'm gonna tie it into selfies in a second. When you have this hate on selfies, now I make fun of selfies because they're funny, but you get these guys now that even hate on women. They're even posting bullshit like articles now saying it's linked to mental like disease.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, dude. Taking an effing picture of yourself isn't causing mental disease. Now, am I more apt to thinking that maybe the person who's addicted to selfies may have some
some severe narcissism issues?
However, we're all that way. We all take pictures of ourselves. Even before selfies were a thing, we all took pictures, MySpace profiles. We all have taken pictures of ourselves our entire lives. I mean, what are self-portraits?
Well, they've been doing it since the camera was invented.
Yeah, and I think so. I don't think selfies should be linked. I mean, because you see all these hater dudes. Because a lot of guys.
It's not just dudes.
You see women doing it too.
Totally,
they talk
shit
about it.
Yeah, but it's usually like I'm gonna get impolitically correct.
Impolitically correct.
Yeah, it's the fat, ugly girls.
Aww.
And they're like, I can't stand people that post 5 pictures of themselves in a row all day. I just can't stand it.
Well, if you weren't surrounded and swallowed up by your own fat, you'd probably be taking selfies as well. So rude. Melissa, since you're in here, you're a selfie person, and Maggie's a selfie. Aisha's just the wrong person to talk about selfies because she takes no photos at all of herself.
I do. I just don't.
There's no photos of you anywhere.
If she goes to a fetish event, there's a photo.
Right? If my boobs are hanging out, there's a photo.
Melissa, have you faced hatred of like guys talking shit about it, or or they try to do very, very vaguely? They talk shit about it on the internet or on your post.
I haven't had it from guys, but I've definitely had it from chicks. Other chicks, though, they find weird shit to pick apart too. Like it's just really random, and a lot of times I've never met the girls either, which I think is interesting. Like they'll just randomly be trolling my Instagram or something and decide to hate on me. So that's fun.
That's interesting. I've never had that one.
That helps them sleep better at night. You're helping them sleep.
It's weird that the hate that happens with selfies, and I don't get it. Like I used to bitch about this on Men in the Lives. Is my bitch isn't the selfies. My bitch are the women's who only. I don't mind girls taking pictures of their boobs, or their ass. I don't mind. But if that's all you do, hey, I'm going to take it as a selfie, and I'm going to make sure my boobs are pushed up nice and tight, and the lighting is really nice and perfect, and I have a 3-key light setup, like I'm going to do an interview here. Like, that is what I have a problem with. Now, if you do lots of photos, like Maggie, you do photos constantly, nonstop.
Yeah.
And then you'll do maybe one of you being more attractive, maybe something like more, I guess guys could be like, bam, you got big old boobs, or something like that.
I never ever show cleavage because of that reason. They're like, oh my god, boobs. Oh my god, your boobs are showing.
Come on, if you're taking a photo, you're gonna.
No, it's not. It's maybe like an inch of cleavage, and they feel that they need to comment on it.
Well, of course they're going to. Come on, if you can see a picture of a guy and his dick outline, you don't think women are going to comment? Look at John Hamm. Poor guy can't take a photo out of his dick outline, and people are going to comment. It's just what happens. It is what it is.
BuzzFeed actually just did a whole thing about dick outlines, and they rated them celebrity dick outlines.
Who's number one?
It was probably John Hamm. I didn't click on it because it was very disturbing. But they talked about the girth of it and how big it was, and it was quite. Yeah, it was quite detailed.
So John Hamm was number one?
Probably. I didn't click on the link.
Anyways, the hate that I see. Same thing with Jessica Nigarilli, or what's her name?
Nigiri.
Is it Nigiri or Nigiri?
Nigiri.
Here, hold on. Can you? Let me turn Greg on. You're not on, are you?
I always heard it pronounced Nigiri.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel bad for her because she's one of probably the most predominant cosplayers here in Arizona, and she's pretty big. Like, you Google cosplay girls, and she's the first person to come up, all over the place. People promote her and talk about her, but then you go to her pages, her different places, and even on just forums, everyday forums for cosplay or comic books. You'll see a picture of Jessica Nigiri pop up, and then you see the hate. Oh, she's stupid.
And that's
Look
pretty
at her.
much all it
she's
is.
a fucking bitch. She's not even a real nerd. She doesn't even like this shit. And you just see hate after hate after hate. And I'm like, guys, not to say anything about geeks, because I think geeks get a lot more play than people think they do, especially at these Comic Cons. However, maybe it's just geek syndrome where these guys, even you have a girl who's a geek, like Jessica Nigiri, let's say she is, but you have a girl like her who's a geek.
Nigiri. Nigri. Nigiri.
I'm not going to make a big deal about pronouncing her name, but let's say, what was I saying? I forgot what
I don't know. Something about if girl's a geek or...
let's say she is a geek, and I think that the hate comes from that. I think what it is with these guys is I think it has to do with the fact that even in their own realm, the realm of geekdom, they still can't get laid from this girl. So even a geek girl isn't going to fuck them.
Yeah.
Even
that's the hate.
Even in my own realm of
awkwardness,
I can't get laid by this girl, so I'm going to hate on her. And I think that's where it might come from, because it's not just a little hate. It's I feel legitimately bad with some of the things people say. Same thing with Jennifer Ann, one of the cosplay girls here in who was local for a while. She's really big out. I think she's not as big as Jessica, but she's getting there.
No, she's... And
even her, I go to her Facebook post, I follow her, and even her, she'll have comments, and she doesn't delete her comments, which I can respect that. But like people will be like, yeah, you have a nice body. Please continue to cover your face. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really, dude? Why do you need to comment on that?
Like, why even like take the time to do that?
It's too much
like,
effort.
Just scroll past it if you don't like it.
I'm going to call it Elliot Rodger syndrome. It is sheer hatred. It has nothing to do with being misogynistic. It has to do with the fact that you are a bitter son of a bitch who's not getting laid as much as you would like, so you're going to hate.
Yeah.
Because she's attractive. And saying that guys do it too. Ugly guys are going to hate on attractive guys. It's just how the world goes round and around. On that note, Melissa.
Yes.
Go ahead and take us into, I don't have an intro yet for you, but we'll get one once I find something appropriate. But let's get into this, the new segment, the Not Bad Dating Tips.
Yeah. So basically, I have just started dating at the ripe old age of 28, and I was married before, and now I'm in the world of dating, and it's a lot more weird and stuff than I thought it was going to be.
You're dating?
Yeah.
All right.
Not well, which is why it's not so bad dating tips instead of great dating tips.
Yeah. But you know what? It goes back to the show you used to do, This Guy, That Girl, the Casa Real Network. Well, hey, those who can't do necessarily
teach.
Teach. And I do agree with that for the most part, because there's somebody. I don't think it works all the time necessarily, but in a lot of cases, if you fail continually, not saying you fail, Melissa, but let's say you fail, if you are smart enough to see where it went wrong,
right,
you can teach. It doesn't mean you're going to apply it yourself next time around, but you're able to discuss it and you see it.
Yeah, and I think, too, dating is one of those things where when you're not really emotionally invested in a relationship, like when your friend's going through stuff and they ask you for advice, since you're not in it, it's really easy for you to, like, evaluate the situation and give them good, solid advice, Yeah. And so I've been in that situation a lot, and so I think that's where a lot of my advice comes from, is being from that position as opposed to my own personal dating situation.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, you have a list here, right?
I do.
You want to jump right into it and we can kind of discuss it?
Yeah. Well, The other day I saw a guy post on Facebook. He said, 2 things that make me run right away is when a girl asks me, what's my dream girl and do I have a type? Like he said, he just takes off for the hills, like if any girl asks him that. And I thought it was so funny because a day later I saw an article on dating questions, and it's literally a tactical guide of questions that you should ask somebody to see if you're compatible with them. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was kind of odd because it's like I always felt like with dating or when you're meeting somebody, it should be more of an organic kind of connection. Yeah. But they literally give you how to tell if you're compatible, how to, reveal his character. And there's like tons of bullet points of questions to ask somebody.
Yeah, I think that if you try to read a list and you try to find a guy, basically you're building a Stepford wife, in a sense, and just based on this list, well, according to Cosmo, column number 5, written by so-and-so, it says that I'm a better fit for a woman who can tolerate my bad breath and my farts. So I'm going to go ahead and date this girl. Here's column A. Now it's like a multiplication chart.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go here. Okay, A. Now I'm going to go down to here. I mean, I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
Well, the whole dating scenario is failure because people always put on their best face.
I don't fail.
And they try to make their imperfections fade away, and they hide them and all that. And then you start seeing this person, you like them. A few months down the road, you start showing your little quirks, and then a year later, quirks.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Quark is the guy from Star Trek Deep
So
Space Nine.
dumb. I didn't say quark. I said quirks. And so a year down the way, you're a totally different person than who you started out with.
I agree.
And that people don't get along after a year, and that's why most people break up.
Well, it's like my Melissa, and just jump in here as well since this is your segment. But it's like I had my ex. She always was a victim of. She victimized herself, Melissa.
Yeah.
And what she would do would be she would adapt to the male that she dated.
Yeah.
And she would be all about it. She'll this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And then 7 months, 8 months down the road, she decided, hey, wait a minute. I like to do this, and I like to do this. I like to do that. And all of a sudden, she throws the guy she's with down a whirlwind of who is this girl I'm dating. You like to go out and party and drink. I'm a stay-at-home kind of guy. I like to chill out.
Yeah.
And she's even admitted it, after going through another couple relationships since me, that she does this, that she needs to not do that. She needs to come out straight out the box saying, this is what I like to do. This is who I am, so that she doesn't burn 8-9 months down the road with somebody and say, hey, look, I'm different.
I think that's a really common problem for women, but I think that it goes a little bit deeper to just not, like, I think what it comes down to is a lot of times you do sort of change who you are. There's sort of an evolution process that happens every 1 to 2 years. It just, your taste change, what you like change, who you are changes. And there's women who can't function without a man by their side. Like, they don't know how to do things without a guy sort of there to support them. So then it's like they're trying to go through this process of, okay, this is who I am right now, but then, that changes, and so they need to switch out new guys. So it's like putting on a new wardrobe or a new suit, every time you feel the urge to, if you're going out to the office one day and you want to be
Maggie,
professional.
just move the monitor. Can you move the monitor? Yeah.
Oh, you want to see me? Is
yeah,
that
I
what it
can't
is?
see you at all. I thought I could. I forgot you're a complete midget. I set this studio up for Thomas a lot, for Thomas Calla, who's a giant.
You can see him over everything?
Right. He's like a giraffe.
I could get like a booster seat, like at the restaurant.
Well, I put you way in the back because the studio's not done. So I just put you in in the king chair that used to, for all those of you that used to watch the live stream that I used to sit on like 2 years ago. And you sink into it. So you're a midget, and you sink into there.
I know I am. I can feel my butt like going back into the chair. But.
So do you want to kind of read a couple of the list off here, or do you want to just skip to the next one? Or do you think it's necessary to read the list to kind of laugh at it a little bit more and see if it's ridiculous or not?
They are kind of funny. The reason it's kind of what Maggie was saying too, going back to that, it's like just because you ask people these questions, especially if it's like the first or second date, they're going to try to give you like the best, most brilliant answer they can possibly think of. It's not going to be like, what's your greatest achievement? Oh, that time I watched Supernatural for 12 hours in a row. Like, that's not going to what they really say. They're going to tell you like, oh, that time I got a PhD, blah, blah, blah.
See, and you know what? And that's where, I always say this thing about bringing it about me, because it's always about me. That's I am who I am. Like, I don't change. Like, I change if I want to change, meaning my personality. If I need to work on things, yes, I do work on my personality traits, but I don't fake somebody I'm not. Whoever I am at that time period is who I am when I first meet somebody. I don't like dress it up and be like, but I'm also not a jerk, and I know how to talk to people. I'm pretty much of a nice guy. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to pretend not to be a jerk because I'm really a jerk. But a lot of the times I am who I am. And I say it how it is. And a lot of times the attraction that I get from women that I'm on a date with or dating like that about me. And that's why they're with me, because like, dude, you say it how it is. And I like that and respect that. And I think guys would be, my tip, going off of your tip, Melissa, is to guys out there, is just don't fake it. Don't fake. I mean, fake it to make it for business, yes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being in a relationship, dude, you just need to be who you are, and don't try to pretend you're somebody you're not. Just talk, be who you are. If you like Star Trek and you're obsessed with Battlestar Galactica, just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it. If you have a masturbation problem, just say
it. And that's true. Like when I was like 2 years ago, after I got divorced, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to hide my uber nerdy Disney obsession from whoever I date next, And then after the first guy that I spent some time with, I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm just, they're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, you started
Disney's
combing your...
sexy nowadays.
Right?
All grown women are
I made it sexy. It's all because of me.
So now, Melissa, you just start picking up a fork and you start combing your hair with it like Ariel from Little Mermaid. You just
yes, and if they get that reference, I automatically hop into bed with them. That's what happens.
Wow.
That's the dingle hopper.
Now, what else? We have time for two more. Let's get two more things we want to discuss.
Well, kind of staying on that topic of just being real and going with the moment and what you feel. There was an article that I found a while back ago, and I was surprised that I agreed with it, which was why you should have sex on a first date. Because everybody's like, oh, you should wait, and you're disrespecting yourself, and if you sleep with somebody on a first date, a lot of people think that can never turn into a relationship, that it's just going to be a sex thing. Right. But in reality, I know a lot of couples, and myself included, that has slept with somebody on the first date, right? And I think it's interesting because, one, you tell right away if you have that physical attraction with somebody.
Yes.
And it is important in a relationship.
It is very important.
Yeah. In fact,
Preach it.
Probably one of the most important things in a relationship.
It is.
Because
if you're not sexually compatible, there is no hope for your relationship.
No, you're friends. Just be friends. Just don't even try to date or make it a relationship.
Exactly.
And you know, it's just the reality. And then on top of that too, it gets a whole hell of a lot of awkwardness away, like out of the way in the beginning. And that's something that a lot of girls stress about, and like they really idealize it and make it a big deal. And like
now, but going with what you're saying, Melissa, now you're not saying that if you're not feeling the guy, you should just jump into bed.
No,
but if you like the guy, why not?
Right,
is what you're saying.
Right, and you know, I don't encourage not having safe sex or just well,
AIDS all around.
We do have a population problem, so sure. But
listen, man. If the condoms are in the nightstand, it's just like you're wearing it already.
Oh my god. Close enough.
Coming soon from Trojan. Psychic condoms. It's like they're protecting from afar because they don't fucking exist.
Wow.
Okay, so you're saying that if you feel the person, I mean, don't feed into the whole we shouldn't have sex on the first date. Because, and I'm gonna agree with you on this one. Guys, if you want to be a tough guy, you want to be a douchebag about it, oh, she's a slut. No. In the grand scheme of things, guys, me personally, I would never look at a girl as, hey, she had sex with me on the first date, she's a slut. No, you know how I look at it? She needed my dick. That's how I look at it. I look at it as being powerful. And that's how I think any guy would look at it. Any guy would look at it as, wow, dude, I'm awesome. You don't look at it as like, oh, she's a slut, and that's why she slept with me on the first date.
And I think
so. Get that out of your head, girls, because guys usually don't think that way, unless the guy's a douchebag, anyways.
And that's what I was going to say too, because there is a difference. There are guys that just go out with a girl for the hopes that they'll get laid, you know, the first time out of bat.
You can totally tell
and
those guys.
That's exactly true. You can tell that that's what their motive is. And if you, if you want to hook up, go for it, have fun. But I mean, if that's not what you want, if you want a relationship and you can tell that that's all that they're after, then don't do it. You know,
I like to do what I call the fuck punch to those guys.
What's
Which
that?
is what?
I sleep with them, and then right as they're about to come, I punch them in the face.
Oh,
you do not. Do you really?
I've done it to like 7 guys. The weirdest thing, three of them,
like 7 guys.
3 of them have actually
and all
been
7
into
fit
it.
the 7 deadly sins.
I like how that's abuse. That's she's getting back at them by fucking them anyways.
Either like you did something douchey to me, or I just think you're a douchebag.
Sounded like Mike Tyson. Jesus Christ, I used to that was the best fucking orgasm I ever had.
Oh man!
Oh goodness sakes!
One more, Melissa. One more.
Okay, but the other thing I've run into, and I don't know if it's
you run
always
into a lot of things, don't you? Is that just because of your height?
I do all the time. I ran into a wall pretty good this morning, actually. But anyway,
okie dokie.
I don't know if it's just now or if it's always been this way, but it's harder to tell, I feel like, if guys are gay or if they're like metrosexual. And I like went out with this guy, and you know, I'm sitting there talking to him, and I'm thinking in my head like, this man has to be gay. Like, and I don't think he knew it, but I just think he really was gay. And then like sure enough, 2 months later, he hits me up on Facebook. He's like, so I had my first sexual encounter with a guy. I just thought I'd let you know.
Geez.
And it was like, I knew it. I called it. So, but this was the thing. Like, a lot of my girlfriends have said they've gone out with guys that were gay or like bisexual. So, I think it's like, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this now, because I think a lot more men are bisexual or open about being bisexual, and it's not a conversation a lot of women are used to having with guys, and they don't know how to feel about it.
What do you think? Do you think we've become more acceptable, and that's why more men are kind of coming out openly?
Society's become more accepting with sex in general, so guys are more accepting of their own sexuality, but because of the taboo that society...
Why your mic this way?
I don't know. It veers off to the side sometimes. Sometimes I hang a little funny. Don't ask.
Okay, go ahead.
But society imposes this taboo on that kind of thing, so they're afraid to tell their girlfriends unless they feel really comfortable, and that's where these situations come up, that these guys are cheating on their girlfriends with dudes, and then you find out that your boyfriend
Download
gay,
Brother.
like,
That's the website.
Yeah.
If you guys want to cheat on your wife.
Tis
with a man,
true.
Download
Tis
Brother.
true.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Is that headed up by R. Kelly?
When people could just have
God.
crazy, awesome threesomes.
Yeah. I've never come across it. Usually I can tell if a guy's gay because usually they even if he's not out of the closet, because you always have that guy. I think everyone's met that guy that overcompensates.
Yeah.
Like when I worked at the gym about
So wait,
10
you know Dan for how long? Are you still verdict out on him?
So stupid. There's 10 years. 10 years ago I worked at this gym. And the aerobic instructor was so gay, it wasn't even funny. Like, he was homo. And everybody was cool with it. We're like, dude, you're gay. And you know what? He would, every time a chick would walk by, he'd be like, oh, I'd totally fuck that. Like, he would say the most disturbing, most grossest comments about women.
Yeah.
Like, in a sexual manner. Like, oh, I would totally come all over that face. And I'm like, dude, you're gay.
I know.
Like,
Maybe he was
come
just
on.
trying to impress you, Mike. Like, get you turned on.
Yeah,
you know?
and
he was hitting on you.
Or maybe he was being facetious and trying to show
I know, he's
how
all, I'll totally come on
misogynistic
her
men can
face.
be.
Did you ever walk over and you're doing like a bench press and like, hey, you need a spotter? And then just like rest his nuts right in your forehead?
Oh.
He probably liked it.
Here's an extra half a pound for you. Just go ahead and lift that. There you go. One more. Just give me one more. Just give me one. Never mind. I'm already done.
All right. Yeah. So you've come across. Have you actually been on a date with a man that was gay? Then.
Yeah. I mean, I dated a guy that was
Of course
bisexual.
she has. Like he insulted her outfit and then left.
But that's the difference, though. Like, if a guy's up front and says, hey, I'm bi, this is what I'm into, and you're like, okay, that's cool. But if they try to act straight and you know there's something going on there, and that's what bothers me. And then it actually creeps me out, kind of what you were saying, when they try to do, like, yeah, I'd fuck you so hard. And you're like, I don't know. I feel like you're not have a dick right now.
Well, he's trying not to add the rest of the line, which is like, I'll fuck you so hard. And then I'll like gently caress you. Like, well, while we both settle down, then I'll make you some tea.
Yeah, I know. It just feels awkward. So I think that's the key, though, is they have to be comfortable with themselves, and you have to be comfortable enough to bring it to light if you want to continue dating them.
Now, Melissa, in this, I'm talking to Melissa and Aisha here, and maybe Maggie. Now, men nowadays have to compete with women who are bisexual as well, meaning not only do we used to have the risk of, that a woman might cheat on you for dick, she might also cheat on you now for vagina. That's also a lot more, you see that a lot more happen nowadays. Now, on that same token, now, would you date a man that you knew was bisexual and not just, oh yeah, I had sex with a guy once, or no, he was straight up, I don't care if I have sex with a man or a woman, it's all the same. Would you be comfortable in that relationship? Because now you're having to fight two battles. Prevent a guy from cheating on you with a woman and a man. And men are a little more accessible to having sex with each other without a whole lot of introduction.
Right.
Dude, can you imagine like the Oprah specials for that shit? Oh my god.
So would you find that as a deterrent, possibly?
Well, I've dated a guy that's bisexual. I think where it comes in for me, it's like, it's one of those things where I think we've talked, I can't remember if it was on Men With No Lives or on my show, but we talked about how, like, on porn, like when I watch stuff or when I fantasize about things, I like two guys together, but in real life, I'm not so much okay with that. And so it's one of those things where, like, I'm not going to say it would be a deal breaker, but I think it would be difficult for me. I think I would have to work through that one a little bit. So
I agree. I can see that. Anything else that we want to cover really fast on this dating segment?
Well, you kind of hit my fourth topic, which was if you hook up with a person of the same sex, is it cheating? So
okay, is it cheating?
I think it is.
Yeah, of course it is.
Cheating is cheating. Yeah.
I mean, if you're making out with your dog,
it's all dependent on the boundaries laid out within the relationship. That's what defines cheating.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
but no, I can see that. You're right. If you're allowing someone to go have sex, then obviously it's not cheating.
Yeah,
but if you set
it's already set in place that's something that's allowed within the relationship, then there's no boundary crossed.
Yeah,
right.
But everyone has their own boundaries that they set in their relationships.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go to a quick break and come back, and we're going to jump into the news with Aisha. Whoa!
News!
Don't go nowhere. The Rain Man will be right back.
And now, a grown man cries.
Because I know somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
Oh, God, that's funny. Oh, that's good stuff.
The Rain Man Show. Calling it like we see it.
49% geek and 1% douche.
Hey, ass butt.
What did you guys think of the new monster? Was it, okay, spoiler, I guess, the Peruvian fat sucker?
I thought it was kind of cool. The thing is, we haven't seen a parasitic type monster yet. I guess we're going back to that thing where it's like, okay, there's a gray area with these monsters.
Yeah. And honestly, dude, like when she, opens her mouth, when you first reveals how she looks, I actually had a jaw drop. I'm like, what the hell is that?
It was like, dang, the Undertaker?
It was actually creeped me out for a long time. Like, I haven't been creeped out by, a monster since, like, season 2.
Personally, I don't like that. We get it now. Monsters is a gray area. Like, why couldn't they just be f***ing killers? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't she just kill? I kind of get, I'm trying to be nice. Oh, I don't want to kill people. I'm a fat sucker. I mean, it's the freaking, Salma Hayek of monsters over here.
She was hot, dude.
Yeah.
Well.
She can suck my fat. Don't miss the all-new Supernatural fan show, The Crossroads, every Monday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Kazura Radio Social Delirium 001. Also available on Stitcher and iTunes. Search The Crossroads.
Get ready for another From the Back the Tank exclusive.
I like the sound of that.
Man, where the hell is this guy? There he is. Fastest ship in the galaxy, my ass. Solo.
What?
This house gonna work. I heard you was walking around Tatooine talking about how the Millennium Falcon is the fastest ship in the galaxy and shit. That's Bantha Poodoo.
I've outrun Imperial starships.
Why don't you put your credits where your mouth is?
I like the sound of that.
If I win, when I win, I'll take your ship and a piece of Leia's fine, sweet ass.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Haha, we'll see, bitch. Where you going? Man, I didn't say go. Oh, it's like that. Alright, I got something for you.
Plasmasphere initiating in 3, 2, 1. Plasma jump complete.
Pay up, bitch. I promise I'll treat her good. I'll treat the Falcon good, too.
I will fucking destroy you. I will make it my mission in life.
Make sure that bitch is wearing a slave Leia outfit.
You needn't worry about your reward. That's what you'll receive.
Good.
Check out From the Back to Tank. Go to FromTheBackToTank.com.
All right, Aisha, and take us away. What's in the news?
Currently in the news, Parents don't know how to teach their children how to be good human beings.
We establish that on every show.
That's not new news, but it's news.
Right? Just recently in Wisconsin, 2 12-year-old girls stabbed another 12-year-old girl 19 times.
Holy shit.
In a premeditated attack.
Wait, was this the thing you have to do with Slender Man?
Yes.
Yeah, as I've been looking through articles, some of the articles say that like one of the girls was telling investigators that things about Slender Man, but
I thought she was telling the girl that she was stabbing about things about Slender Man as she was stabbing her. So you know about Slender Man is he likes to have the deepest cuts.
You have sympathy for Slender Man.
I'm confused about. Okay, so they took because they believed that Slender Man existed. So they took these girls. What's the myth behind Slender Man? They tried to prove
Slender
it was,
Man is
he pops up, right?
Okay, originated to my knowledge. Slender Man originated in like. Did you guys ever hear about Animation Domination HD?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like on Saturday,
Right.
almost in the middle of the night. Well, they don't play commercials. Instead of commercials, they play like random like short videos and like animated skits and like really weird shit. I was tripping mushrooms the first time I fucking saw this shit. And it's a song. It's like this really catchy, upbeat little song that's like has black and white illustration. And this is Slender Man that life's really hard for him because he's so tall and slender and he has a bunch of arms and all this weird shit. And then at the end, it gets really creepy because Slender Man will come to your bed and murder you in your sleep or something weird like that. It has this like terrible, horrific twist in the last 15 seconds of this 3-minute video.
What were they trying to prove? These girls that existed. Were they killing someone because they're stupid, or were they trying to prove that Slender Man existed?
I haven't been able to honestly find much information. The most information that I could find. One of the girls confessed to an investigator that they began the plan to murder in December and stated, "It was weird that I didn't feel remorse." The other explained that the Slender Man comes to her in her dreams, watching her, reading her mind, and has the ability to teleport.
Okay, so these girls were crazy? Or just psychotic?
They're overly imaginative little girls with bad parents, from the sounds of it.
That is disgusting. So they took the girl out. Did she die? Did
They
the girl
lured
die?
her out. No, she's alive.
Oh, wow.
They lured her out into the woods, stabbed her a bunch of times, and like hoped that she would just bleed out while they ran away. And she crawled her way to a road and was found by a cyclist.
Wow.
They were having a sleepover.
Did they say Slender Man killed them? So they're trying to say that Slender Man made them do it?
Or they did it for him. Yeah.
Well, that's not how Slender Man works, though. Good try, little girls.
No,
Good
he's
try.
a solo artist.
Yeah. What else do we have in the news?
Next in the news, a woman is attacked by a crazed high elf.
A crazed high elf?
Yes.
Like a midget training to be an elf?
A woman
or?
in Portland, Oregon was shocked when she came under attack in her car from a high elf. I'm assuming that has something to do with World of Warcraft or something. Greg, you know about these things.
Was it a dark elf or a mage?
A high elf? No, that sounds
Mages are entirely different. What are you talking about?
That sounds like D&D type of shit.
Right? It's the weird. But I guess a man dressed in a chainmail and helmet, wielding a sword, attacked a woman as she sat in her
car. I'm trying to go along with the
car.
World of Warcraft storyline.
So it's just a man dressed up in.
Were they LARPing?
Hey, that's not part of World of Warcraft. There's a part of World of Warcraft. Don't say that.
It's a legitimate question.
Hey, listen, Jim Douche, I don't talk to you about bench presses and all that shit, so don't you dare fucking insult, like, WoW and everything, okay? I don't know what 45-pound plates are.
Wow.
Ooh, put more of those on or something.
Hey, is a mage in World of Warcraft?
Yes.
Okay.
It's also in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, but however, my point is still the same.
But investigators
Mine too.
found that later that he was high on LSD at the time.
Oh,
of course he is.
He was tripping balls.
This is actually what happened. So this is how this night unfolded. Is that they were all in their mom's basement eating Funyuns and drinking Mountain Dew, playing D&D, and they all decided they were going to trip at, like LSD.
This is true?
And
or are you making it up?
Then basically he got so tripped out that when the dungeon master, or the DM, for those of you that don't know, so some education for you, said that they were going to fight the giant beast of, Cragmore, he went apeshit, grabbed his, replica Jon Snow sword, and ran out the door and attacked the first thing that he saw, which was obviously this woman. And no, that's not how it happened, but that's what I'm imagining happened.
That sounds pretty legitimate.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
They're also probably playing Led Zeppelin. I'm going to go with that now. That or Rush.
Let's say Rush.
Oh my god! All right,
and I'm going to go with the specific Rush song, Tom Sawyer.
What else do we have in the news?
Next in the news, car crashes through a storefront window in Britain.
No, that's good.
They just couldn't wait for it to open.
Yeah, a 92-year-old woman drives through a supermarket window.
An old British woman. That must have been
needs
some
some
sight.
Depends.
Probably wearing like a big old purple hat. Been awesome.
It was the Queen.
Yeah. That was
Maybe
freaking-
she was American. She was just visiting.
I doubt that. So what's the story behind this? What happened?
Those wrong-way drivers.
Let's see. It says the elderly lady who was driving a Ford Fiesta accidentally drove the car into front of a window.
She's trying to have a fiesta.
She just it's old. The elderly woman had apparently gone into reverse and hit the accelerator instead of the brake, causing the car to sail straight through the huge glass window.
Well, you see, Constable, when I went down to the local shop to buy some
Luckily,
chips and salsa
she was
for
not
my-
hurt.
for my party. I wanted to have my own fist because 2 days ago I bought this brand new Ford Fiesta and I wanted to have a Fiesta of my own because the commercials say to have a Fiesta. So I was trying to go with what the commercials were saying.
And what else is the hard hitting? Is there a reason why this 92-year-old did this? Is it just because she's old as fuck?
She was old and didn't notice that she was in reverse.
It was a legit accident.
Oh, it was?
Drove through
Yeah.
a whole, yeah, like
92-year-old lady. Oh, that's
I wish I could have seen her face.
right. Like,
She
but
probably
it
just
said
turned
she
around.
wasn't hurt. So
I hope she had a diaper.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I will try to pay with this. I'm so sorry. Geez, I'm so embarrassed.
Maybe she thought she saw a gateway to Hogwarts. Is that what
Oh
it was?
God!
Maybe I can help.
She was in a car, not on a platform, looking at 9 3/4. For God's sake!
Listen, can't you just? Isn't there the entrance to Hogwarts like anywhere though? Like if you
No.
have, it's only one place.
Yes, at platform 9 3/4.
Why don't you sit down?
And you have to go a certain time.
Oh man, Greg.
I got your back, Greg.
What else?
Thanks, Maggie.
What else do we have in the news?
Next in the news, a 49-year-old man gets caught masturbating in the meat department of a supermarket.
So he was beating his meat to the meat.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, I guess that would be the appropriate place to do it, right?
Some people like their raw meat animal style.
Oh,
I don't.
like
Now is he beating it to the T-bone steaks or to the sausage links?
It says
Ribeye.
Ribeye. He was going with
he
ribeye.
was checking
so
out
it
the
was ribbed for
burgers.
his pleasure.
Why don't you sit down?
funny. Go ahead.
I want 10 pounds of ground beef and two porterhouses. Oh God, and 5 sausage links. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, apparently this gentleman has a supermarket problem. In 2010, he was arrested for exposing himself in another supermarket.
He just gets so aroused, like he can't control
He just
himself.
can't- yeah,
I
like-
completely
He exposed
understand.
himself in the bakery section.
Child molesters
you know.
can't go to schools. This guy can't go to the grocery store.
Yeah, he just wanted to add some cream to the pie.
Why don't you sit down?
He wanted to help fill the donuts.
Yep.
Add a little extra protein to his meat.
Why don't you sit down?
Double shot.
He wanted to add his own foam to his coffee.
They do have Starbucks.
Need you to fuck me, right?
All right. What else do we have in the news?
Next in the news, a man is in serious condition after being stabbed by Legend of Zelda Master Sword.
I think I've actually read this.
Wait, a guy. Okay, finish the news again. Finish the article again. I didn't hear it because Greg got too excited about it. Okay, a guy got stabbed by a Zelda man?
Yes.
Zelda man? Zelda
the
sword.
a replica of the legendary Master Sword from the Legend of Zelda series, was drawn by Eugene Thompson after his girlfriend called her ex-husband for help during an argument.
Oh, I totally read about this.
So he had a Zelda replica sword.
Yeah.
And he decided to use it.
But
in this
it's
skirmish.
really made out of metal. Like it's
an actual
sword. Sword.
It's an actual sword. It
He took out his
just is
Ocarina of
all
Time and
Zelda'd
summoned
out
it.
and nerdy.
I'm retarded.
It took a lot of coins.
That's funny.
He kept hearing Navi just go, "Hey, listen, stab the motherfucker. Hey, listen, stab the motherfucker. Hey, listen."
Did he get in trouble for it? Or was it like self-defense? Was he stopping like domestic
Well, no,
violence?
now he's sentenced into
So far,
into
the police
dungeon
have
to
not
fight
confirmed
Ganondorf.
whether or not they will be filing charges.
So was he the culprit and the perpetrator in the domestic violence dispute, or was he defending somebody with the sword? Like he went to go pick up the sword because he had it. And he
Thompson stated that he drew the sword as a means of defense when his girlfriend's ex-husband arrived. So I guess he was attempting to be manly with the Zelda sword.
I don't have my gun permit, but I do have this replica I bought from the mall, the replica mall store. So I'm gonna go and use it.
Made out of sterling silver.
It says on the sign though not to take into battle. You know how those swords do that? Like if you go buy a replica sword, it comes with a sign inside the box that says an inscription that says "Do not use these for battle." These are not. Do not go into combat.
It's not full tang.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Dude, I wonder if people actually think that. I don't wonder.
Well, they have
I know.
to.
There's got to be morons out there. You have to put that there because some jackass is like, "Oh, I just got the Daywalker sword, and I'm gonna go kill some vampires with this and go into battle."
Well, dude, I was at Bookman's one night, and this is back when Atomic was still around, and they would sell replica swords based off of anime characters and just replicas of samurai swords. And so one guy came in one night, bought one, and then the next night, saw him walking around, basically walking around Fiesta Mall with the sword. I just watched. I'm like, wait, isn't that guy in the comic shop doing that? Holy shit, he's carrying that sword around. He was carrying around
he was proud of it.
Yeah, he was wearing it as if he was an actual samurai, just walking around the streets. He has it for self-defense.
How did you not know he was a samurai?
So stupid.
Because he was lanky, white, and
was
had
he
a patchy goatee.
That's samurai gold.
Was he wearing the Asian shoes like David wears?
No. He was. I think he was wearing one of those wolf shirts you can buy at the zoo gift shop.
So stupid. There's these guys when I used to run this gym in Central Phoenix that used to come in at night to the aerobics room because there was no aerobics classes, and they would go in there and they would full on practice sword fighting, and there'd be 6 of them.
They'd spar.
They would dress in karate clothes, and they would bring their little swords out. And the thing is this: is how come there isn't any real badasses ever doing karate? You never see a Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal actually do karate in real life. You see these chubby, 225-pound dudes who have never had sex before walk in with practice swords doing karate, and they're all black belts. Where is the Chuck Norrises of the world? They don't exist for real.
Wait, were the karate uniforms? Were they kind of big black pants and a gi top?
No, they had pee stains on them and just
Dorito
stains.
Because that sounds if they're bringing in practice swords, that sounds like kendo, not karate.
I don't know what it was. Oh, Jesus Christ! Sorry, Greg.
Literal Greg tonight.
Actually, it's kendo. It's actually from Korea. Wait, what's Korea martial arts, Greg?
Shut up.
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
Yeah, kendo's from Japan.
All right, what else do we have in the news?
Next in the news, real-life Grand Theft Auto scene caught on film in Denver.
Oh, wow. So was somebody pulling out an old lady and beating the shit out of her?
Close. Ryan Stone, 28, of Denver, while at a gas station, carjacked an unlocked car that actually happened to have a 4-year-old child inside.
Oh, jeez. That's scary.
He sped off in the vehicle before dumping the child and getting another car.
So he left the car and the child.
Yeah. Dragged the driver out of the car, the next car. So you would in GTA.
Yeah.
So you open the door, punch them, throw them out.
So that's 2 stars.
Yeah, right.
Did he stop to slap a hooker's
and then
ass?
started driving off down the wrong side of the highway.
That's 3 stars.
Yeah. So stupid. And then causing a major car accident.
That's 4 stars.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he was still trying to get out of his car and take off on foot before cops had to tackle him to the ground.
He's a trooper.
What did he do, a triathlon? He's going to jump in the lake and the river and swim away as well. And
I
then
think
he was
this
gonna
one
hike
might have
up a
been on
mountain.
PCP.
It sounds like it.
You have to have those adventures.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like a good time, though.
Right? It sounds like my Saturday.
Oh, I'm jealous.
What else do we have in the news?
Next in the news. New study says that watching the Colbert Report can be more informative than watching the actual news.
I can agree with that. We were just talking about that with Jason. You get more reliable news nowadays from these comedy places.
Well, and they take it directly from the news sources, so that's how you know, they're not just making this shit up to be funny.
Well, the best ways, as I was saying, the best ways to tell something nowadays for the type of for society, how we're all in a fast-paced world. We all want things fast. You know, you don't have time to sit there and wait for the punchline of the news for 20, 30 minutes. Whereas, you know, you have people like Joe Oliver now, or what's his name? The guy we were just talking about? John Oliver, and you have, Stewart and Bill Maher. You have these people who basically, you know, package news, relevant news, in a satire form now and tell you jokes with their own twist and their own opinions, the way they deliver it. But you're getting more actual news from these people nowadays than Fox News. I mean, I don't understand half of, you know, you sit down and watch Fox News for a good 8 hours, and out of that 8 hours, you're going to get maybe 45 minutes of actual, like, news that matters.
It's true.
So
it's true.
What else is, so what led to this, this study?
Oh, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really say what led to the study.
Well, was that the only part of the news? Was just that more people are getting, or is there more to the article?
It says a recent study concluded that the Colbert Report did a better job of teaching people about campaign finance in the last presidential election than MSNBC, CNN, Fox, or any other broadcasting news. So it's just it's saying that the way that they break down things that are happening currently politically in our society is easier for the everyday person to understand than the way they describe it in the news, which is still with the lingo by the book that even people that work in those industries have a hard time following along with.
Yeah.
Let alone the everyday person who really doesn't know fucking shit about their government.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like, most people never really take the time to watch news. The majority of people, mainstream people, and I think that's another thing why people are becoming a little more educated now, is because you have these shows like the Colbert Report, and Oliver and Bill Maher. You have these people now who want comedy, and now these comedy shows deliver news, and now people who never even, you know, who normally would never get news because they're not interested in it, are now getting it. You know, and they're making it it's like, because news is an acquired taste, and they're making it more digestible for people who typically don't want to sit and watch.
Yeah, they present it in a funny way, like you're watching serious things, but you're laughing at them, and that's why people don't want to watch the news. It's either way too serious and boring, or really fucking sad.
The days of 60 seconds or 60 minutes, the day of 60. I wish it was 60 seconds. The day of 60 minutes is over. The Barbara Walters hard-hitting interviews are done. I mean, Larry King had to go to the internet to find a bigger audience, you know, find a better audience, because even on network television, I mean, he couldn't draw in that audience anymore.
Well, especially at his age.
Look at Piers Morgan. You know, he got canceled for a lot of reasons, but he got canceled because if you don't, and he was a pretty good interviewer, actually.
Yeah.
But, like, if you... It's hard. It's a two-edged sword nowadays with how you deliver news, and that's one thing I've always said. And I think Greg and Maggie might remember this about Men with No Lives. People would be like, "Mike, I cannot believe you guys are even discussing this. You're talking about it. You guys say, disgusting things." And I said, "Listen, nothing I say is done in jest. Everything I say is set up in a place to express an opinion and a belief that I think needs to get out there, but I dress it in a form of, you know, a banter, ranting, or in a satirical form, or as a joke, because that way you entertain people rather than sitting there and discussing, well, anyways, today in the news, we have, just imagine if I didn't I did it with Jason Roberts. Not that Jason isn't a radio guy, but even with him, I threw in a couple. I do with all my interviews. I'll throw in, if I think it's getting a little too serious, I'll throw a little joke in there just so that the people who might be drifting away to Never Never Land will be like, oh, I'm back, because that was funny. You know. So anyways, what else do we have in the news?
Next in the news.
We gotta find you a better system.
I know, we really do. This is
better system that's a little more quicker.
Kick your fucking ass!
All right, next in the news. Donald Sterling buying the Clippers was a better investment than Apple stock.
Really?
Yeah. So at the time that he had originally bought the Clippers, like back in, I think, 81 is what this article says.
Back before they found the KKK hood in his closet?
Yeah. Back when he initially bought them, it was what he sold that at compared to what he bought it at was more valuable than if he would have bought Apple stock at the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And now now he's selling it. Is he getting back the money? Have we heard this yet? Is he getting back a pretty good investment?
Oh yeah, he's selling it for $2 billion, and what he put into it 33 years ago was $12.5 million.
Wow.
In 81.
Wow.
Which at that time was a huge fucking chunk of change. But compared to getting $2 billion back in return on that investment, like shit.
I have a little bit of a bone to pick with media and mainstream people. Like, Sterling's a piece of shit human being. Okay, he is. I think we can all agree with that in this room. The shit he said. I mean, he's a racist bastard. But should he be forced by the NBA? Because, he's doing a lawsuit now. He's going to sue the NBA for them forcing him to sell his company. Which, I'm like, dude, you made $2 billion. What are you going to sue them for? You didn't exactly lose anything. However, I do think he has a legitimate case because freedom of speech. Whether we want to hear it or not, whether he says the N-word or a bunch of kike jokes, it doesn't matter. He has free speech, and just because he happens to own the Clippers doesn't mean that he should have to sell them because he said a racial slur. I don't think it was necessarily fair. I hate to say that about this guy, but in the grand scheme of things, it was not fair, I don't think, for the NBA to kind of force him to sell his company, because people weren't going to quit going to Clippers games. People were going to still, first off, who goes to Clippers games, number one? I mean, if you have the Lakers at the Clippers, who are you going to go? You go see the Lakers. But my point is that, people, I think what he should have done is probably taken a backseat and said, listen, I'm out the door. I'm done. I'm not going to show my face here. I'm not going to be here for a couple years, for everything to cool off. But, I mean, forcing the man, it's his business. He said some racial slurs that was recorded, and now he's going to lose his business.
He said it in the privacy of his own home.
Right.
And he was illegally recorded, and it just happened to come out because
and I'm not justifying for him.
Whore.
I mean, he is a prick.
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, he is entitled to the same rights as everyone else in this country, sad to say.
It's true.
But anything else in the news? We have time for one more, Aisha. One more.
Lastly, in the news, I wanted to end the news with something upbeat and positive.
I want, disgusting and disturbing. Come on.
Kick your fucking ass.
All right, what's positive?
Your disappointment.
What do we have what do we have that's positive so we can all feel good?
Kick your fucking ass.
The article is pointless and kind of dumb, but the real point is this foundation that this woman has started called Show Your Soft Side, and it's an ad campaign. There she takes pictures of famous or well-known, very manly, burly men cuddling and all cutesy with puppies and kittens and fluffy animals to promote anti-animal abuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the news?
I felt like that was very newsworthy. So.
Oh, Jesus.
You should see some of these fucking pictures. You have no idea.
If this was Maggie during Triple M, I probably would have threw something at her.
Yeah, it would have not been pretty.
You know what? If you want to have topics like that, bring them up during the show. We'll talk about it. I don't mind talking about it. But for news, we got to keep it silly and funny.
Perverted.
Now, I do want to not perverted necessarily, but I do want to
look at him cuddling with that pussy. That is beautiful.
All right.
This is radio. You
He's
can't see it,
snuggling that
though.
pussy. We'll show people. We're on the fucking internet. Beautiful.
All right, we got to go. We'll be back next week. Later.
Bye.
Let's get the fuck out of this motherfucking hellhole!